Hello and welcome back to another UCL Fantasy video. Today we are looking at our team selection for Matchday 4, but first we have to have a look at our team, how we got on for Matchday 3, and we absolutely smashed it out the park with our Limitless chip. If you didn't know already, we used the Limitless for Matchday 3, and we've climbed roughly about 100,000 places. We're right up there now at 36k in the world, and I'm basically on track of how I was getting on last year. Obviously there's a couple of extra match days this week, but by the time Matchday 4 was coming around last year, I was sitting at 41k in the world, so we're coming up to Matchday 4 and we're now roughly the same at 36k, so very happy with that considering I managed to finish about 700th last year, while obviously being about 100th heading into the finals. So we're on the right track for a nice finish, and again, like I said, everything basically went well for me last week. Specifically looking at that defence, the defence, Gutierrez and Hakimi picked up monster hauls. Gutierrez was a huge differential that we picked out, 1% owned, scored, man of the match, clean sheet, was fantastic, couldn't have asked for more from him. Hakimi again scored as well, man of the match, which was fantastic, 13 points from him. Raya ended up picking up a clean sheet. Grimaldo was probably he was the most disappointing defender in there. Even looking at the bench as well, everyone, like I could have done with a bench boost last week, like a lot of our players ended up returning. Sommer got a 6-pointer as well with Raya, nothing I can do about that. Havertz was the only one to blank, along with Lookman. They were really the only two players that blanked in my whole 15 squad. Hernandez got a 5-pointer. I was very reluctant to take him out, but I ended up doing it anyway, just to go for the upside, which didn't really work out with like Lookman, Grimaldo, but either way it was for me, I feel like it was worth the risk. And then obviously Rico Lewis get a 7-pointer as well. So a couple of missing points just with the bench, but nothing really to worry about. Switched the captaincy over from Pulisic to Phil Foden. Ended up getting a 22-pointer from him, which was nice. Salah gets 7. Wirtz got a man of the match with 11 points as well. And then even up front, Haaland picked up 10. Gyökeres picked up 9. We basically get returns from all of our players, which was great. And no monster hauls. Normally when you've got a 100-pointer, someone's picked up 30 plus points, but this time it really was just consistent points getting. I think the only thing that did kill me or prevented me from getting a huge rank was Vinicius Jr., who is obviously a very popular player in the game and picked up a hat-trick, I believe. He was really the only one we missed out on. Would have been a nice pick to go for over Havertz, but you can't pick everyone who's going to haul. So before we get into it, let's take a look at this week's problems, because now we're moving on from our Limitless and we're going back to the team from Matchday 2, and there's obviously going to be a couple of injuries or minutes risks players. So going back to our Game Week 2 team, we have 6 players that I'm kind of like, they've got at least something wrong with them. They're not 100% kind of thing. Now, a few of these are minutes risks, a few of these are injury risks. So I'll go through each of them. We've got Gross, who was obviously not playing, or he was benched for Matchday 3. I was actually really lucky that I did use the Limitless chip, because I think all 3 of my Dortmund players were on the bench for that game, so technically they are all minutes risks, with Chan, Anton and Gross, but Anton is in this list as well. But Gross, a little bit of a minutes risk. I think he should play, but I don't know if I'll really want to risk it, because obviously Borussia Dortmund is one of my main factors of points. My whole chip strategy has based around Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona, and stuff like that. So it is a bit of a minutes risk. I might move him on to someone a little bit more guaranteed. Gnabry as well, a bit of a minutes risk. He has been subbed before the 70th minute a good few times now for a good few games. Was always something that I did know from Matchday 1. Obviously he has now really been the worst of the Bayern attackers. Olise done really well, Kane done really well, and I can't actually remember who the other one was. Was it Musiala that was playing as well? He would have done really well as well in Matchday 1 or Matchday 2. So not really the most ideal situation owning him. Anton has picked up a bit of an injury. He was out for about a week, I believe. He is expected to return for this week, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on the Dortmund team news for this week. I'm hoping he's going to be fit for the Champions League. But again, like I said, he is another one that is a bit of an injury risk, a minutes risk. He hasn't played in 2 of the Champions League games. I think it's Matchday 1 and Matchday 3. He's come off the bench, which isn't ideal. Again, preferably would have a Schlotterbeck in there. But, again, like I said, you can't have everything. Again, like I said, gonna keep an eye on that Dortmund team, and hopefully he's back from injury, and he's going to be able to play. I've got Carvajal, who's obviously picked up an ACL injury. He has to come out. He is the number 1 transfer for me. He's out for the season. Nothing I can do about that. Vardiol picked up a bit of a concussion, I believe it was. It was a slight injury after the game in the EFL Cup. As far as I know, nothing really too wrong with him. He should be back for the weekend and hopefully playing again in the Champions League. Then we've got De Gregorio as well. Now, he did get sent off in Matchday 2, and Perrin has been Juventus's goalkeeper for a lot of the league games and obviously done really well and picked up player of the match as well in Matchday 3. So he is a bit of a minutes risk purely because I think De Gregorio could easily lose his place to Perrin. I've got Blažević as well. He is okay. He has been a bit of a minutes risk, but his replacement Schlager picked up a red card in Matchday 3, so he's okay to play for Matchday 4, nothing to worry about there. De Gregorio is the only one I'm worried about. Would I make a transfer on him though? Probably not. We've seen it with Raya and Sommer in the last game. The ceiling for a goalkeeper tends to be 6 points, so am I going to probably end up taking a -4 to move my goalkeeper on? I really doubt that's going to be worth it, so I'm going to risk it with De Gregorio. I'm going to be keeping him in. So in terms of the transfers, these are the 2 moves that I'm going to be making this week. Obviously, I'll just show you my team in a little minute. If you haven't been keeping up with the team selection, you haven't seen the team yet. But Carvajal is going to come out and I'm going to bring in Rudiger. Again, I said this in my Limitless video. I think Carvajal was the best Real Madrid defender you could own. Obviously, with him being out, I now think it's Rudiger. Rudiger's picked up a lot of points. He's got, I think, 2 goals so far in his 3 matches. So happy to pick him up for an extra 0.5 million over Carvajal. And then I'm going to downgrade Gross down to Gittins, who I think is the best midfielder for Dortmund going forward and saves up a lot of budget as well for Matchday 5 and for Matchday 5 really, because we're wildcarding in Matchday 6. So again, like I said, Gross a bit of a minutes risk. Happy to go for Gittins, and it is leaving me some money in the bank, but I'll just speak about that in a little minute. Let's take a look at our defence. So defence is now looking like this. As I said, with the budget, we now have 1.2 million in the bank. So a -4 could be on the cards, but I don't really think it's necessary for anyone. I think if I get some news that Anton's going to be out, I may take a -4 to move him to Schlotterbeck. I feel like that's just a good move for the future. And he's just a lot more nailed. So again, like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on the predicted lineups and any team news with that. So obviously we've got Rudiger coming in, we've got Vardiol playing, Grimaldo has the tough match against Liverpool away from home. Everyone else I'm pretty content with. I wanted a Man City defender, I'm happy with Vardiol. I think Lewis probably is the better pick budget wise, but I've got Vardiol in for now. Again, goalkeepers, I don't mind. I'm trying to push as forward as possible with a really poor goalkeeper pairing. I think both of them haven't picked up more than 2 or 3 points in all 3 games so far. So they haven't been great, but I just need them for 2 more match days to pull through, and Blažević is obviously nailed for this week, so hopefully we can get something from him. But 2 away fixtures, I'm not really expecting too much. But the defence is alright, I don't mind it. The only problem I could have here, I think, is going to be Anton. I think everyone else is going to be nailed, hoping that Grimaldo can pull off, a random assist or a goal against Liverpool. In midfield, it's looking a little bit better. We've got Yamal and Rafinha, probably the 2 most nailed midfielders in the game for me. I've still got Gnabry, which is quite unfortunate. I would like to go for someone like a Phil Foden or a Musiala instead of him, but I don't really want to. I don't have the budget, and 2, I don't want to take a -4. Gittins obviously coming in for Gross to save up some budget, and a much more explosive player as well than Gross, who hasn't really picked up too many points so far. Now we've got Nicholas Kuhn, not expecting too much from him. He's only 4.5 million. Ideally, I would go have that Malambo from Feyenoord, the midfielder. He looks like a nice pick for the same price, but again, there's no point in me taking a -4 just to do that. So Kuhn's going to be in there. Home match against Leipzig. Hopefully he can do well. You know, he's been doing well for a 4.5 million midfielder, a couple assists here and there. Hopefully he can get a wee goal this week. And then for our front line, again, potentially the best front three that you could have for match day 4. Ideally, I think I would have Vinicius Jr. over Erling Haaland, but like I said, I'm not taking a -4 to take out Haaland. Haaland could easily do something in that match. Not the most ideal, again, like I said, Haaland isn't in my Limitless draft or my wildcard draft this week, but he's still Erling Haaland. He can still score in any match, so nothing really too urgent in terms of taking him out. Lewandowski and Kane, for me, absolutely nailed in there. So I've got the double Bayern, I've got the triple Barca, and I've got the triple Dortmund as well. If you've been watching the wildcard and Limitless teams, those are the 3 teams that I'm very focused on for match day 4 and going forward. So happy with the way the team's looking. Still think there is a couple of minutes risks in there with Gnabry, Anton, and that's really it, to be fair. A couple of the goalkeepers not doing too well, but I don't really think it's necessary to be taking -4s unless they are obviously confirmed to be out. And then for the dates for this team, we are again splitting it basically right down the middle. For Tuesday, we've got Haaland, we've got Kuhn, Gittins, and then our full defence, Rudiger, Vardiol, Grimaldo, Chan, Anton, and then De Gregorio. So 9 players on Tuesday. Whether De Gregorio plays or not is still yet to be seen. And then obviously it's 6, which is going to be our 2 Bayern players, our 3 Barca players, and then Blažević in goals. So a nice little split, you know, kind of the ideal split that you are looking for. 9 and 5 or 9 and 6, sorry, is a nice little way to go. So that's going to be my team for match day 4. Let me know what you think of the transfers. I'm recording this on Thursday night because I do have to go away tomorrow. So again, like I said, anything final will be on my Twitter. Make sure to follow that, which is right here. Make sure to follow that, and I'll post my final team selection before the deadline. So let me know what you're doing with your transfers. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next one.